evening to you friends, and this video is dedicated to mainly ICSC students, because ICSC students are only those category of Indian students where they study Java with the Blue J. Since if anyone who is interested in knowing Java, they can learn Java, there's no problem with that. But if you are an ICSC student, because there are many other programming interfaces, like the application programming interfaces like the Eclipse and NetBeans, etc., which are more powerful than BlueJ. But since for a concept is always a concept, if you are good in Java, then you can do anything on any other platform. It's just like well saying that if you dance well, then you can dance anywhere. Now here I'm just going to introduce the idea of the object-oriented programming and object-oriented programming. But just first, before jumping here and there, I need to understand that what is a class, because we are discussing about object-oriented programming. So what is an object? So I just make one object. That here you can assume just one class I'm creating. So my class name is rectangle. Rectangle is the class, and you can take it that if you just close your eyes and try to visualize that how this 2D shape rectangle is everywhere. You have television screen, you have the walls around you, ceilings, floors, notebooks, textbooks, and they are all rectangular in shape. Now so I'm just trying to classify. This classification is called as 2D, and I have created one class with name rectangle, and it has some variables, because what are the main features of the rectangle is its length and its breadth. So suppose I just declare two variable and I name them private int length and private int breadth. So these are my main variable. Now if to perform any operation, I need to know about the length and breadth. So I just create one constructor. This is called constructor. Constructors are the special functions and which help you to just simply initialize these variables, because unless these variables have some value in them, then you cannot use them. So here I write that this I pass it two values like int x comma int y. So I say that assign length to x and breadth to y. So the value x goes to length and the breadth goes to y. So I have initialized. Now I have one method called int. So I call it area, and since you know that the area is length into breadth, so if you just multiply them, then you get, so here I have a function, so it returns the value length into breadth, length into breadth. Done. Now I create one more function and I will name it public perimeter, and this is the name of the function, and its return type should be length. Its return type should be integer. So it just goes like this, that you have now return 2 into length plus breadth. This is the first introduction I'm giving, and then I'll go into the finer detail, because students just take little time to grasp this basic idea of the object and the class. and the teachers also here teach in a very weird way, and they undermine the abilities of the students, and they teach in a very wrong way. This is not the way object oriented programming language should be taught, but I do not understand why do they do so, because they believe that the students cannot understand that way. This is called undermining the abilities of the students. Now I create one more function called public float and diagonal. Okay, fine, diagonal. And then this function needs a mathematical, so forget it, I will just work with these two only. Now here I'm going to compile this code. Now see, now here I compile. Okay, here I missed a semicolon, so every statement should end with a semicolon. Just first just don't pay attention, just take this as a rectangle is a two-dimensional shape which has the prominent features like length and breadth, and the area, length of diagonal, and perimeter can be calculated on the length and breadth. Like if you know the length and breadth, then you can calculate all these things. So the more important is to, like suppose you have a television set, I have the television set, and everybody have the television set, but their screen sizes vary. So you can say all these people have different type of rectangles, their lengths and breadth are different. So this is just one model, and your television is the object of this type, my television is the object of this type, and everybody's so every object is different, and they have got different length, different breadth, different areas, different perimeters, but they all have these prime features, like they have length and breadth, and its length and breadth should be initialized, and then you should have the different functions to perform them. So I have done it. Now I compile it. This is compiled. I right click here, and I create an object for this. So how to create the object? Like compile. So now here it says that, oh, is there any error? I don't think so. It says there is one error, semicolon expected. Oh, here. So here I missed the semicolon. Now it's done. So object is created. So when there is no syntactical error, then there is no in the compilation time, then the object will be created. So it is now functioning as object, means this has been compiled, and now it will just see I create the new rectangle. I am creating the object for this. Suppose I'm just taking your example that you have got a rectangle whose length is 15 centimeter and the breadth is 10 centimeter, and I call this name as recta. So here it is done, and then I have created one object. Now see, this is the recta object. I want to create one more object for myself, and I will name is Tango. Tango, my length is 25 centimeter, and my breadth of the breadth of my rectangle is 20 centimeter. So I have created two objects. Now you see, one model, class, rectangle, and the two objects. Same way you can create a large number of rectangles objects. So this is a class and this is the object. So after the class is just a blueprint, and now here are the objects. Now let's run them. Right click, calculate, call the function area. So when I call area, then it says area is 150 for this one. Now you have seen this. Now I call this one and again call area, then this one gives the area. For this is the area for object Tango, and this is the area for object recta. Now see, this is how it's working. So it means this is the simple behavior. Now I hope you understood this, and I can call some other methods also, like I close them and I call the perimeter function. So if you have many functions, you can call them all one by one, and this is how it works. So again, just pay attention to it and try to understand what is class. what is objects, because Java is called as object oriented programming language. So the first you have to understand what is object. I mean to say, just try to see things like this. Just look at anything, whatever you see around yourself, a sphere, a man, a dog, a home, a building, a ground, a tree, or a dog, or an whatever. Everything has unique properties, and you have to make a blueprint. Means you have to consider the appropriate properties of that. Like suppose I create one more class here, and I call this class name as dog. So this is the blueprint. I am just trying to make one object of type dog. And what are the features of a dog? Dog's feature can be its breed, and dog's feature can be, so to make it short, I just say my dog has got a breed. So I take this is private breed, and breed is just the name of the dog, it's just a string. So private string breed. So this is the breed of this one. And now suppose some dogs you have seen, just like the Doberman, which has no tail. So private boolean tail. So its answer will be yes or no. If it has the tail, the answer is yes, and if it has no tail, then now it is a string. So to initialize these variables, again I need one more class, one more method, like how to initialize them. So I write the string x and boolean answer. So I again initialize here this one, so it becomes breed becomes x, and tail becomes, I think I should boolean. Private string, no, string is fine, class. So tail equals answer. Now I just simply make a function private or public void and barks, like whether my dog barks or not. So I say here, and I say system dot out dot println, yes, it's barking. Now as it barks at strangers, and I create one more function which will display the name of this, like details. It will display the details of the dog, details, and here I say breed, and then here I'll print breed, and then again another line system dot out dot println tail it has tails, and then I print tail, so it's boolean. So now it's ready. So I compile it, it has error. Now what is the error? Again I miss the semicolon. Now I again compile it, no error. Now I create the object. Now suppose I do not know whether you have a dog at home or not. Suppose you have a dog, its name is Kalia, and its breed is German Shepherd. P-H-E-R-D, German Shepherd, and it has tail, yes. Or you can write true. So it goes true, true, oh, it's not taking, let's see, dog, so Kalia, and it has German Shepherd, and here it is true, yes. And I create one more dog, and this is a local stray dog, stray. And what is its breed? Asbies. Do they have Indian dog, Indian hound, and it has tail, so the answer is no. So now see, I have created false, it's a boolean, so it's false. Now two, so dog, the world is full of dogs, and I have created two objects. My dog name is Kalia, and the dog, this is stray. So the Kalia and stray are the objects of the type dogs. Now here I run, bark. It says yes, it barks at the stranger. Now look at the details. Yes, it barks. This is from the previous case. Yes. So this is the basic idea of the object-oriented programming. I hope I have been able to introduce the idea of the object-oriented programming, and the Java is purely an object-oriented programming. In the next couple of videos I will again go into details. If you have any comment, if you want to understand it in a different way, then just share your views, comment, and never feel shy, because a person who is shy, he never understands anything. So have a nice time. Ciao.